Hey, it's Endymion, and today there's more things to go over when it comes to Marvel Rivals. From the game's director openly spitting on the slop that has come out this year like Concord, to activist players demanding that Rivals should never add characters like Red Skull to the game. And I also want to talk about this big lawsuit that's happening over at Bungie later on, but let's get into it. But first, I wanted to speak about something else before I get into the Rivals story and all of that in the rest of the video. I want to speak on The Witcher 4 and Naughty Dog's next epic that is called Intergalactic. So I did a 4.5 hour stream just the night before this video goes live, and here I thought my video was done, I was good. Then the Game Awards happened, and holy crap dude, I felt like I got the wind kicked out of me after watching that in its entirety. If there's anything I felt after watching the Game Awards in 2024, it was that I felt less optimistic about video games than ever before in my life. Outside of maybe the Mafia game and that Okami sequel, maybe Onimusha as well, I felt as if I wasn't really being catered to at all. Maybe that's the point here, but the point still stands. Starting with The Witcher 4, this was the first official trailer for the Game Awards proper, and I gotta be honest with you guys, it was terrible. It was an awful first look at the game's world that felt nothing like The Witcher before it. Everything just felt weirdly sanitized, and it was missing the grit and the darkness that I came to expect from this world. Sure, it had a monster and a girl being sacrificed and villagers looking scared, but once I saw The Witcher, in this case being Ciri, get fully revealed, my heart genuinely sank. I couldn't believe my eyes on what I was seeing. This was the worst trailer of the evening, and it wasn't even close. Ciri looks awful. There's no other way to put it. No point in sugarcoating these things for you. Ciri's face, for me, it answered all my fears of when the CEO of CD Projekt Red was acting like the forced DEI in their company was not going to affect their games. They assured us. They even made fun of people like me for calling it out until I exposed them, and then the entire internet turned on them in kind. Ciri's face, her mannerisms, everything told me what I needed to know, which is that The Witcher is cooked, fellas, and it's not dying by thunderous applause, but by wet farts and sad groans instead. Ciri's face, it has the DEI slackjaw look to it that is far too prevalent in today's modern video games. There's no denying it if CD tries to protect this and say, oh, it's fine, you guys are being too gamer-gatey or something. No, CD, no. This looks terrible. This lacked the magic of Witcher 3 or any of the games before it. Yet you guys said that Witcher 4 will surpass it in every way. So far, the only thing that Witcher 4 is surpassing is my patience for the moronic gaslighting of modern-day westernized companies. Ciri is the lady of space and time. I already assumed that she would be the main character in previous videos on this, and, well, turns out I was right. I said that the game's codename was Polaris, which is a star that signifies adventure, and I theorized that we would play Ciri going to distant worlds beyond the continent, and well, it looks like I might be right. But let it be known, I have no problem with playing as Ciri. In fact, I welcome it. Because we knew that Witcher 3 was the end of Geralt's journey and it was time to pass on the torch. But this was not what I wanted. I got an uglier Ciri for no other reason than to appease feminists who don't even buy games but simply like the idea of supporting these things. There's no point in denying it either. Here's a side-by-side comparison of Witcher 3 Ciri and 4. And don't come at me telling me that I'm lying or that I'm blind. Don't gaslight me or put words in my mouth. Just use your eyes, tickle that part of your brain that activates your pattern recognition, and look at it not for what you want it to be, but for what it really is. And you know it in your heart that what they've done here is exactly what Saints Row did with their remake, what Suicide Squad did to Arkham, what Concord tried, and more. They are taking things that we love, they are making them worse on purpose, and making them ugly because apparently players can't take attractive characters seriously. And I was literally told that by sources that worked on Star Wars Eclipse and Outlaws, by the way. They are doing this deliberately and hoping that you're too stupid or tired to realize or care in order to do something about it. Please, I implore you guys to speak with your voices. Tell CD Projekt Red now that you do not want this in your Witcher games. You don't want this ugly, modern audience slop look to attach itself to what is arguably one of gaming's best RPG franchises. Also, can we talk about the other big WTF that will piss off everyone who loves this world? Why is Ciri drinking a Witcher potion to enhance herself? I joked that CD Projekt Red would find a way to make a woman into a Witcher, and it seems that my jokes have become reality. In case you don't know, women cannot become Witchers. It's been stated since the beginning. Their bodies simply cannot handle it due to their biology. Making Ciri into a Witcher is going against one of the sacred tenets of the world of The Witcher itself. It is laughing in the face of fans the world over. It's equivalent to like a sacrilegious thing, such as making a female Space Marine exist. These things cannot exist. These rules, they must be adhered to and respected, otherwise, what's even the point of the rules that dictate the lore of these worlds then? If nothing matters, then this shouldn't exist in the first place. This entire trailer felt like it was made with AI by people who don't understand The Witcher as a core concept. Gone is Geralt, in his stead a skinny woman who can do what he does, but of course better. And gone is the rules of this world because they go against the cult of the ideology, and everything must bow down to them no matter the cost. Likely it pissed off these DEI hires because Witchers being confirmed to not be women probably angered them a lot. How can a trial to make Witchers not be done on women if the gender study teachers who warped our brains in post-secondary education told us with confidence that men and women are the same in every single way? That there is no biological difference between men or women, even though every time a man becomes a woman, he always dominates the other women in whatever activity he partakes in, especially sports. But no, reject these realities, spit on facts, and absorb nothing but the cold, mucky bile that these fools give you instead. Because Ciri is now a Witcher, not only in training, but biology too. She is no longer beautiful, because to be attractive means to adhere to the male gaze, and well, we can't have that. No, instead you must limp on like a wounded dog as everything you love is taken away from you, piece by people who never had a hand in usually creating these beloved things in the first place. People will call me crazy, CD's not bending the DDI, even though they signed charters that legally bounds them to hire on things like sexuality and skin color almost exclusively. They'll call me names, tell me that I'm lying, when this is what these people do. They take reality, they take objective truth, and then they warp it until you can no longer differ between the objective and the subjective. Feelings become facts, opinions now history, everything to ensure that no matter what you do or what you say, you must, above all else, adhere to the agenda at any cost. The Witcher 4, if left in its current state, it will kill the franchise. Because if CD was confident enough to show us this as our first look and to be so confident in it that they opened the ceremony with it, they really want this to be the direction that they think we want. Ciri even sounds different. Everything about this is dog water, festering putrid waste that we're supposed to accept as nourishment. I reject it all. If anything, what the Game Awards have done is make me see that my work is nowhere near complete. And that these freaks are coming for everything. They're more desperate than ever before, that they genuinely think that we will bow down just because it says Witcher on the cover. Just look at that other game, Naughty Dog's Intergalactic, a case-by-case study of exactly what players do not want in games these days. A Concord ripoff that opens with a woman who is absolutely not straight, I can guarantee you, who is shaving her head because the patriarchy or something, looking for a diverse man who's played by an actor who openly advocated for more diversity within the Marvel Cinematic Universe when he joined it. There's a woman with an eye patch, not a single man to be found outside of that one photo. This game, honestly, it looks like a dumpster fire already, 4 years in the making, and it looks like Naughty Dog has absolutely learned nothing from what players really wanted. But instead they decided to double down on their agenda even after Last of Us 2 sold less than half of what the original did. And all I got from these trailers and more was that the game industry claims that they're changing, that they want to give people what they want, but in reality, they were never going to change. They want us to accept this slop, and I think opening and closing your ceremony with what are obvious blatant DEI nonsense like they did here are like the two woke feminist pieces of bread that held together what we call this Game Awards crap sandwich. Two games that look like they're being made for no one but the gender study failures who couldn't get a job using their useless degrees. So instead, they decided to run to video games, say their pronouns, and then hope that nobody notices that they don't know how to make anything of worth. I am sick of this. I'm sick of all of it. This all makes me sad to see. And I can't believe, after the tremendous failures that have already plagued 2024, that these developers, AAA household names, are instead doubling down in the name of agenda. I say no to it all. I feel nothing but disgust for the people who have been tasked with shepherding the next future installments in things that we love. I implore you all to let CD Projekt Red know your voice is heard. Use your words, your fandom, your dedication, so that we can maybe fix this before things get even worse. What a crap show this all was. Disappointing would be an understatement. The Game Awards this year, and these two trailers specifically, made me hate video games for once in my life. I felt genuine disgust watching these abominations in motion. To these devs, they may see the next great thing, but to me, it's nothing but a house that's on fire, with the doors that are missing handles and the things that I love are inside pleading to be saved, and I'm powerless to do anything. Horrible all around. I never want to see trailers like this in the future ever again. Also, why is there so much brand sponsorship in Intergalactic as well? Could you really not let us escape the real world so you have to put actual things that exist in our world like Porsche and Sony and Adidas in the game? Really? What the hell is going on with Naughty Dog, dude? Do people really want to play as a butch space lesbian? In 2025 or whenever this comes out, for God's sake, Sony. They already locked the comments on the debut trailer. They can't be serious here. Look, I'm tired and sad. They're just making slop for nobody but their fetish Discord groups now. And they really expect us to want to go out of our way to buy these things. But that's what I have to say right now about Witcher Forward Intergalactic. Now I will move on to what my video was originally intended to be about, which was Rivals and more. So I apologize if this video feels disjointed somewhat, but I never expected abominations at this level hitting me the way that they did. Alright, let's continue on with the rest of the video. Rivals is still doing great. I've been trying to get through all of the mission objectives myself, which has forced me to try out other heroes like Hela, for example. And I've actually grown to quite like characters like Captain America to play, as well as Magneto too. Here's hoping one day they add characters like Ghost Rider, Daredevil, and Uncle Ben, and that's not a joke, by the way. I genuinely want Uncle Ben and Aunt May to be in this game because screw it, why not? It's video games and it would be hilarious. Anyway, the game's director, whose name is Thaddeus Sasser, which sounds like a real-world supervillain that performs experiments on gerbils, was recently on a podcast over at videogamer.com where Thaddeus was asked by the podcast crew what he thought Rivals brought to the table against its competition. The host would then ask Thaddeus, "You're entering a market that is very full of different games. I think one of the cool benefits of Marvel Rivals is that it is offering something that not only no one else can, because no one else has the Marvel's license for a hero shooter, but you're also offering something that is entirely unique within its market. And we're seeing a lot of games come out that are like very similar to other games, like Concord came out and died very quickly. There's a lot of reasons behind that probably. It didn't have much marketing, people didn't gel with the art style of it, but at the end of the day, it was another standard hero shooter." To which Thaddeus unzips his pants, flops it on the table and says, yeah, it didn't bring any unique value. I mean, first of all, based, but secondly, he's also right for saying that. Looking back at Concord now, you almost can't believe that that game even existed in the first place. Like I said when that game was first announced, at the cast of Concord, they looked like random nobodies in the background shot of a James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Just random aliens that would be standing there as Rocket and Quill would run past quickly or something without acknowledging them. Nobody looked unique in that game. They were all painfully generic, and it's crazy because apparently Firewalk Studios had entire seasons planned with content updates and new heroes with already recorded lines and new cosmetics coming to the game in the future too. And of course, none of it is coming out. It's all sitting somewhere on a server just collecting digital dust for the rest of eternity. I think a big reason why Concord failed, besides being a woke dumpster fire and having ugly characters, was its price tag. In my opinion, not even Marvel Rivals could survive a $40 price tag. Pretty much no multiplayer game could do that these days. Call of Duty is the only outlier, but it's because Activision smartly packages their multiplayer offerings with a campaign mode and zombies, at least in Black Ops' case anyway. But the actual Warzone game mode is 100% free to play, just like Fortnite and all the other ones. And like I said in another video, all of these companies are fighting tooth and nail to get your player retention stats over to their game. They're all in a constant tug of war for the finite amount of players that exist out there. So a big reason why Concord failed, like Rivals director said, was it was trying to compete in a setting where 1, it was generic, 2, it offered nothing new, and then 3, thought it could survive on a $40 price tag against games like Fortnite, which are totally free and content rich already. Like, Fortnite just added a CSGO-like mode to the game called Ballistic. You really can't be joining these spaces thinking in the old ways. I think Rivals' one big redeeming factor is its unique license of Marvel, of course. It's safe to say in terms of IP, Marvel is easily one of the biggest in the world right now. And especially that's thanks to the movies that everyone and their dog knows these characters already, so making them into a hero shooter was honestly genius to do. And I think another big reason why Rivals is doing so well is due to its art style. The best live service games have unique art styles that really pop off the screen. Fortnite and Apex come to mind, Valorant too. Rivals' art style is just sick, dude. There's no other way of putting it. Everybody just looks dope as hell, like a weird mix between comic book Golden Age meets anime. It's just so cool looking. And I find myself randomly playing Rivals before going to bed almost every night now. I'll lay in bed for like 2 minutes and go, what harm is there to play a match or two, you know? Then it's 2 a.m. and I feel like I'm gonna die because I'm an old man, and it hurts to just exist these days sometimes. The VideoGamer.com host would then ask, when you're pitching or working on a new free-to-play game in the current market, are there worries that you're not going to grab that crowd? It's quite evident that Marvel Rivals will at least kick off very well, especially considering the massive Discord following and how big those playtests were. Is there a slight worry there? Thaddeus would reply, as a game developer, you're always worried until the audience has already responded. And the truth is that I don't think anybody can accurately predict this, or the game industry would be radically different today. There's a lot of games that come out where people are like, it's going to do well, then it flops, or people come out and go, it's going to flop, and it succeeds amazingly. So I think it's really hard to tell ahead of time, and you're always worried about it. But I think the trick is that you need to have that reason that people want to come play your game, and I think Marvel Rivals does that exactly with the superhero. I don't know about you, but when I heard the concept of the game, I was like, oh my god, I want to be Storm in a game. I want to be Doctor Strange in a game. I want to be those heroes in the game. That sounds awesome. And of course, my mind immediately leapt to all the cool possibilities you could have with that. That's what I think will pull people in as well too. If we've done our jobs well, they'll love what they play and they'll want to play some more. I think it's safe to say that, yeah, Thaddeus and his team succeeded since they got over 10 million players in just 72 hours. Every company in the world would kill for those kinds of numbers right out of the gate, and the fact that they managed that in a world where Fortnite, Warzone, Apex, Valorant, and more are all eating pieces of the finite pie, it's a big deal, dude. But I do think it's pretty based of Thaddeus to just outright say, yeah, Concord sucks and it was ass, we're better. Let's normalize calling out bad things more often so we can keep getting better products in the future. Unfortunately, however, Rivals is having some fans being idiots, so let's talk about that now. First off, don't harass anybody, let's just look into it, understand, and ensure that we never replicate this level of dummy in the future. From Fandom Pulse, some gamers campaign for Red Skull to be banned as playable character from games because he's a Yahtzee. Yup, we've now entered this part of the Marvel Rivals era already, so a user named Lunwy decided to post this image of Red Skull which says, feel like he's the one Marvel character who should never be playable in a video game. As you can see from the response, people had some things to say about that, so this Lin Wei guy kicked the comic book hornet's nest. And here's what some others had to say about it. One user said, "I cannot imagine being so incredibly fragile that a fictional Yahtzee makes you upset. There's real problems in the world." The user that started this discussion would further double down, stating, "Zemo I can kind of get behind, but I don't want to see Red Skull in the Fortnite item shop. Also, I'm aware that Marvel Snap and LEGO games have added the character before, but those feel a little different but are still kind of weird." I just want to stop this right away. There's nothing wrong with Red Skull being playable in a video game. He's a fictional character, guys. Come on now. There's been plenty of games, like Call of Duty especially, and I mean the World War II games offerings, where teams are split between the Allies and Yahtzee forces. This doesn't mean that the players who were placed on the Yahtzee team are somehow bad guys themselves. It's just that within that setting, there needs to be a different group for each side of the player. I don't think playing as Red Skull would make you a Yahtzee or an evil person yourself either. After all, Rivals has plenty of supervillains already, like Loki for example, who's done some pretty awful things in the comics by the way. Loki once sacrificed himself to save others only for a child version of him to take his place. Then, when he was resurrected, Loki pretty much invaded this kid's body and took over his entire being from him, and then Kid Loki was no more. That's messed up, dude. He pretty much ended a child for his own reasons. Loki also, of course, laid siege to Asgard itself and caused Ragnarok to happen, which killed thousands and destroyed the kingdom of his brother's people. He literally turned thousands of people into refugees because he was jealous. Then you have Hela, who's the goddess of death, who tortures people's souls and then uses them as her own cannon fodder, who never allows them to finally pass on. I don't know about you, that's pretty awful too. I mean, even the Winter Soldier has done a lot of bad stuff and killed plenty of innocent people. The point here is that at what point do we stop to think that these are comic book characters and just obviously not real people? Like, everyone wants Thanos to join the game, that's obvious, but again, Thanos has wiped out entire planets, erased cultures from existence, and turned orphans into living weapons to do his own bidding. The guy is a monster, he's not a good person, but if someone plays Thanos, I wouldn't look at them any differently because Thanos is still a Marvel character. I mean, Null is getting teased all the time in Rivals right now. The dude is a literal ancient space god that controls symbiotes that consume people. But if he was put in the game, that's cool I think, and I would love for characters like Green Goblin even to join the game as well. Because I think it would be sick to have a duelist character that flies around on his glider that's just like throwing bombs at people, similar to Junkrat from Overwatch, kind of. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if Red Skull joined Rivals because again, he's a Marvel character, he's not real, none of them are. A lot of the people in Rivals that you can play as have done terrible things. Black Widow and Wolverine, I mean, they have a laundry list of lore that they've committed. It doesn't mean if someone plays them that they're now bad or evil or something. I think people need to stop jumping on some high horse and thinking that they're holier than thou. I mean, even LEGO has versions of Red Skull available. What's wrong with that? He's an evil character. And I think since Captain America is already in the game, it would make sense to have his arch nemesis available too at some point. Hell, Ronan the Accuser would be cool as well, another villain by the way. And what about when you're playing Rivals on the Hydra map? Isn't it one team pretty much defending or wanting to take over the point from the other? Couldn't you say that one of those teams is pro-Hydra in that moment? Either way, it doesn't make the players evil for participating in the game or the characters themselves. I think people need to stop trying to police everything and inflict their will on others, especially when it comes to ideologies. These are comic book characters, man. I think Rivals should just add whoever they think is cool and fun to play into the game, regardless of their backgrounds or lore. I think we can all agree that Juggernaut would be a dope tank for obvious reasons. Mr. Sinister would make a great healer or tank as well, and that guy has literally cloned people like Jean Grey. And then trick dudes like Cyclops into having kids with the clone of Jean Grey without Cyclops even knowing. Which, in a sense, means Mr. Sinister made Cyclops be unfaithful to Jean without him knowing to give him a kid that he could manipulate in the form of Cable. And let's be real, it's only a matter of time before someone like Deadpool comes into Rivals as well. And that guy has killed people for the laughs. He's not exactly a good person either. And you have Venom, who literally eats people. God, I hate this stupid PC agenda nonsense some people push. There's nothing wrong with playing as a character in any game. Overwatch has plenty of supervillains that are playable too, just like many other games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 lets you play as Blackheart, the literal son of the devil himself. You don't get more evil than that. And that guy is, big surprise, not a good guy either. And in Injustice, you can play as Joker. And we all know that the Joker is a genuinely awful person who also just kills people left and right. And by the way, Joker is playable in Fortnite 2, which is a kid's game. Does it mean that kids are going to go around murking people left and right because they're playing as the Joker? Of course not. Is playing Thanos in Fortnite mean you're an advocate for population control and want half of all people erased? I mean, probably not, but regardless, the facts still stand. Another user would reply, yeah, some characters just aren't meant for video games. He's definitely one of them. Great, so now we can't have supervillains at all be playable, I guess, in anything when it comes to comic books and games. Everyone now has to be a superhero good guy or anti-hero of some kind like Punisher. But if any of the hundreds of villains that Marvel has becomes a playable character in Rivals, it's something this is bad because these people's feelings will get hurt. There's too many villains out there that I would love to get added to a game like Rivals. Dr. Octopus, man, that would be sick, dude. Carnage would be dope too, and yeah, Carnage is a serial killer with no remorse. But like from a gameplay perspective, having a duelist who can shapeshift their hands into different weapons, that would be cool to see. I mean, the announcer of the game is Galacta, the daughter of Galactus. Her dad literally eats entire planets, guys. Like, what are we even talking about here? I would wager that Galactus is worse than Red Skull, because Galactus doesn't care about anything. He just wants to eat the whole world and everybody in it. So whether you're conservative, liberal, Yahtzee, pro, whatever, Galactus, he doesn't care. He'll eat everybody, leave behind nothingness, and a void in the wake of every culture, history, and people of any world being gone forever. But nobody seems to care that Galacta, his daughter, is over here jumping around all cute and looking adorable. She even has the same helmet as him too, like come on. People need to stop being so soft when it comes to these sorts of things. It's video games, man. Look, if we can't have Red Skull, then we can't have Joker in anything either. Not even Harley Quinn, by the way, because she too kills people for fun, and that's not very nice of her to do. Can we all just agree that this is all stupid and just hope that Rivals brings both more villains and heroes in the future? I hope they bring a Nihilist to the game as a playable character. For God's sakes, the story of Rivals is that Dr. Doom is doing bad stuff again. The guy literally wants to kill trillions to enact his goals. Also, not a good guy by the way either. Also, he's playable in Fortnite. Another cool evil character I would love to see is Sabretooth as a tank. That would be dope as well. Honestly, I hope they bring more villains to the game, if for no other reason than to upset these people in the end. I think this user says it best. He's Captain America's most recognizable and well-known bad guy. Yes, he should be playable. I don't give an F what he is. He's not real. Yes, more of this mentality in the future, please. People need to stop being so soft and weak when something upsets them. If it bothers you that much, then just stop playing Rivals. Or at the very least, don't play the characters you don't agree with. Because you're an adult baby with little man or woman syndrome. After all, you control the buttons that you press. But if they add Red Skull and he becomes OP and he has some moves that can wipe out people fast, yeah, best believe I'm gonna play him. And I'm gonna use him to troll the players who hate him too. I'll even go out of my way to hunt you down in a game, just to really annoy you, because you are all such babies about these things. And if you want to keep that same energy, then you're really only allowed to play as maybe Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl at best. Because pretty much all of these other characters have all done awful things or killed people at some point in their lore. Also, why is Rocket there? Hasn't he blown up ships and shot people for fun too? What a problematic little guy he is as well. Anyway, enough about these dummies. Let's finish this video with a crazy story surrounding Bungie and a lawsuit that just got dropped on them. Former Marathon director sues Bungie and Sony, accuses management of Me Tooing him to avoid $45 million payment. So the former director of Marathon, whose name is Chris Barrett, is suing Sony and Bungie and claiming he was deliberately removed on purpose by the company. He was targeted, according to himself, by a Me Too movement. Jason Schreier of Bloomberg reported on this a while back when Chris was ousted at Bungie. Here's the allegations that led to him getting removed. The investigation found that Barrett called lower-level female employees attractive, asked them to play Truth or Dare, and made references to his wealth and power within the studio, suggesting that he could help advance their careers, according to two people familiar with the case. So he was allegedly using his position to get favors. Well, okay, not a good look obviously, but Chris is now fired back with his own statement. The past 9 months following my departure from Bungie have been very difficult and painful for me as I've had to endure rampant speculation, unfounded attacks on my reputation, and innuendo about what happened behind the scenes to cause me to be fired after 25 years of loyal service. I want to thank everyone who has been there for me. I've eagerly awaited the opportunity to get the truth out there and tell my side of the story, and now is that time. Today, I filed a lawsuit against Sony and Bungie to hold them accountable for their conduct and the damage that has been done to my reputation and my career. I am confident that the facts are on my side and look forward to clearing my name through the legal process. Because this is a pending legal matter, there is nothing else I can say about it at this time. So as it stands right now, he's taking both Bungie and Sony to war because apparently he was promised around $45 million in payments for a clause in his contract. I'm assuming, I could be wrong here because we don't have the facts 100% as of right now, but that when Bungie sold themselves to Sony, this sale gave the executives and the higher-ups at Bungie huge paydays when it all went down. I would assume based on Chris being at Bungie for so long that he had shares in the company as well, likely quite a bit actually. And he was probably promised that $45 million was for his shares that I would assume once it was all said and done. But once the transaction went through, he was instead ousted using the story of him being a predator. Again, not proven 100% according to Chris, I don't know, I'm just telling you what he said, but if he's right, then Bungie and Sony are going to have to pay him a lot of money. I'll keep my ear to this story because if it turns out that it's true, then Chris Barrett is about to get a massive payday from his former employers. But I think that's enough for right now. Marvel Rivals director is based as hell. Weirdos are demanding that certain characters not be playable to keep their feelings from being hurt. Directors are going scorched earth and everything else. What do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, subscribe, have a wonderful day. Thanks to my supporters, and I'll see you in the next one.